Welcome back again to the Fish Files, and we've returned to one of the best little aquarium stores in the whole city of Los Angeles, Underwater Depot. We're back again with Chris, and today I'm going to buy a fish tank. Hello, Chris. I am going to build a nano tank in our little studio setup, and I wanted to put something together, and I'm thinking something a little taller. And just like this, I want to put a few nano species
I have the
in there.
perfect tank for you. Come around over here. I got a bunch of different sizes and shapes, all relatively close to the same gallon.
Oh, wow.
The one you were talking about would probably be this one right here.
Okay, yeah. I like this too.
Okay.
I guess that looks a bit, I could make that look a...
Just because of the shape of that tank, it can be more challenging because it's a shorter tank. You're gonna have a little tougher time getting creative with the decorating of it.
Would those shrimp jump out of...
They don't really jump out, so that's not gonna be too much of an issue. Some fish will jump out of that because it is so short. So occasionally you will lose a fish. My personal preference is a little taller tank. It gives you more variety as far as types of animals you can keep and aquascaping the whole situation.
Let's get this. All right,
I'll take that
for shopping.
Gravel, let's start with the gravel.
You're
gonna need what's called a plant substrate. The fish and the plants don't care what color you pick. You can go with brown or black.
Now we talked about crushed lava rock, which is an activated substrate or gravel. This, as I understand, is also activated. Also,
yes,
you
it's
don't
bioactive.
need... So plants' roots can go right into it.
Absolutely, yeah. There are no rules. Pick which one you like. All of them functionally are the same.
I'm trying to be normal, so how about normal black?
That's fine, that's great.
So
the cool thing about this is you don't rinse it, you put it right in the tank. I can set this up for you right now if you'd like.
Yeah, we might as well.
So every aquarium needs a filter and a light and a heater if you want to do plants.
Do I have to have a heater?
In Southern California, in the spring and summer, it's probably not necessary, but in the winter time, it's going to get cool, and the heater's going to come in very handy. Fish, when the temperature fluctuates, they can get sick very easy.
And you have a heater that's appropriate for even a tank this small?
I do.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
The cool thing about the heater is you just plug it in and you forget about it. There's no maintenance to it. There's no setting it. It's designed for this size of aquarium.
So when I walk out of here, Chris, I'll have everything except for the plants and the fish that I need.
Correct. And all you'll have to do is go home and add water.
We're doing this from scratch, and assuming I've never done this before, I want to buy the plants and fish and put it all together. And now that's a disaster, right? I have to keep this thing running for a few days before I...
Actually, that's kind of a myth. The tank is ready to put plants and starter fish in as soon as the temperature and the water's been conditioned. So you can put the stuff in within an hour.
Put in a little dechlorinator and...
Dechlorinator, I happen to have some right here. This is very important. You don't put this in the water, you're gonna lose everything. So it has to go in every time. You can't overdose, you put too much in, not a problem. But if you put not enough in, there's a problem. So this treats 50 gallons for a cap. All you'll need is a few drops for this size tank, very little bit. And it works instantaneous, just put it in and you forget about it.
Now the caveat on that was, he said starter fish, and I just want to also emphasize not a lot of fish.
No, a tank this size as a starter fish, you would start with maybe 3-4 small fish. If you do plants in the tank, the cycling process is a lot more gentle than if you don't do plants. A lot of times if you do enough plants, you don't even notice any cycling process at all.
So plants help speed up the cycling.
They help a ton, they help a lot,
Great.
So Aquascape,
this
is very simple.
That's beautiful.
But it works. You got a little bit of piece of wood there. So the cool thing about the wood is you can actually attach plants to it and have it grow much like a tree.
How do you attach plants to
I've got
wood?
a special glue that works underwater. It's safe for the aquarium. You just glue the plant to it.
Glue. Can we buy some glue while we're here?
Sure. You can also use fishing line and gently wrap the plant around that.
That's too much work.
I'll get you some glue as well.
Glue. This is something I've never used. I know the reef guys use it all the time, but I guess it can be used for plants.
Yeah, it doesn't care what type of water you use under.
All right.
So this is glue, safe for aquariums. The drawback to this glue is it dries very fast underwater. You have about 20 seconds before it starts drying on you. And it can be a nightmare if you start drying on your hands. So you want to have a plan before you start using this. If you go into it without a plan, you're going to get glue all over yourself. All
right.
What I like to do is actually take the wood out, put the glue on the wood, and put the plant directly onto the wood.
Wood has to be dry?
No, doesn't make a difference.
God, that's amazing.
Doesn't make a difference.
Then stick the plant on, just
glue it together and hold it for a few seconds, and then you're done. Anubias nana is the best.
Anubias was one of the plants we mentioned on our 10 easiest plants.
Yep, Anubias nana. That's the best one.
Okay, all right,
In fact,
perfect.
I've got it on this one right here.
Actually, I think I had barterite, but they're
Any
almost the
Anubias will
same
work.
thing.
The drawback to the barterite is it grows big. It'll outgrow this tank very fast.
See, you need that advice from the aquarium store. Just don't go to Petco or PetSmart.
The nana will stay small.
Okay,
and
perfect.
you can pretty much keep it for the life of the aquarium. Other
right.
cool thing about the nana is that it will grow out of the water as well.
Yeah, actually, it's a nice effect.
Yeah.
Oh, and do they blossom?
They do flower. I don't see.
That one doesn't have one.
No, but they will flower on it, yeah, for sure.
All right, so these components, all right,
That's
let's
it.
wrap
Literally,
it up.
functionally, that's it. You're ready to go. All you need to do is add water.
Oh, people might want to know approximate cost of all this.
So, ballpark, you're going to be about $250. Under $250.
Okay, and you have now a bunch of little pets for your life.
The cool thing about these nano tanks is you can literally put in several hundred little critters in there. In this tank right here, every 2 weeks I add 400 shrimp and about 100 fish.
Oh, wow. Oh, and they look like they're happy.
They're fine, so.
Now, if I wanted to get away from nano species and change up the aquarium, this is probably fine for dwarf cichlids, maybe?
Yeah, but very few. So it doesn't have a lot of surface space. So that if you're not going to do nano fish, you're going to do one or two other fish, and that's it. But if you stick with nano fish and you have a heavily planned aquarium, you can really get a good community in there.
Okay.
The plants are the key. The more plants you have, the more planted it is, the better the processing is of the waste, the bigger the population of critters you can have.
Well, we're definitely going to add some plants. Oh, I have to, this small little plant on the
The
bottom.
grass-like stuff?
Yeah. What is that?
That is pygmy chainsword.
Pygmy chainsword. Okay.
Cool thing about that is you don't need CO2 for it to spread. It's one of the few plants, there's a foreground plant that doesn't need CO2. If you don't put CO2 in there, it spreads very slowly, but it spreads exponentially, which means the bigger the space that it is, the faster it spreads. So as it spreads faster.
This was going to be like a first tank, easy as possible. I wasn't going to put CO2 in this case.
This is a low-tech plant.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Put one of them in there and you leave it alone and let it do its thing.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Well, that's our aquarium. We're going to wrap it up and we're going to take it home.